How's it going, everyone? On this first video of the channel, I'm going to show you how to modify this B16 intake manifold to adapt to your fuel-injected A20 and B20a motors. Not to be confused with the CRV B20s, more specifically the second and third generation Preludes and the third generation JDM or Euro Accords. To get the most out of this intake manifold, as well as any current or future power adders you decide to do on your engine, I first strongly recommend you do an OBD0 to OBD1 conversion first, just to have that option to tune. Now, I do plan on doing a how-to on that conversion, but for now I'm going to leave links in the description on the how-tos for that conversion. If you do decide to stay OBD0 while doing this project, if modified and installed correctly, your vehicle should still be able to run an OBD0. Parts needed for this project. Number one, which is going to be a huge surprise, is going to be a B16 intake manifold. The B16As, the old ones, and this one specifically being more the B16A2 from the 99 to 2000 Civic SIs or EM1s, should all work about the same. Next thing will be the sensors, your map sensor, throttle positioning sensor, and your idle air control valve. Now for this project, as of right now, I am not going to use the B16 map sensor. You can use your Accords or Preludes map sensor and just run the vacuum line through one of these ports. It should work fine. I do plan on doing this. The only reason I'm not doing it now is I do not have the plug that goes into this. And I'll show you a picture here in a bit. And I probably will make a small little video just show you how to rewire it to make it work. But I'll show you a picture courtesy of Shane Lxi. Thank you very much for helping me out with this. To show you how to make this work. The cool thing is though, is the stock A20, at least for the Accord, all the plugins for the idle air control valve and the throttle positioning sensor plug in. No rewiring needed, which is awesome. Okay, next thing, which is a cool thing about doing this project, besides getting a little bit more power on the top end, is you can use B-series stuff. Here's the VMS fuel rail that I got. If you're on a budget doing this project, I recommend just go with a OEM B16 fuel rail with a regulator. Only reason I went this route is primarily because of the listings on eBay I was looking at the time. I couldn't find any OEM B16 fuel rails with a regulator that didn't cost not the same, if not less than this. So I decided, why not just go with this? I haven't heard too many bad things about VMS. I know they won an award of something at SEMA a couple years ago. So I could have gone AEM, but a lot of people run AEM. So no hate towards them. I'm sure they make very good products. I just wanted to do something different. But one note about this, and I can't speak for any other aftermarket fuel rail that you get, but I did not know this prior to getting this. You cannot use OEM fuel pressure regulators. Now, I'm not sure how true that is. That's just what's stated on their website. With a little searching that I did, I couldn't really find anybody that used the OEM fuel pressure regulator, which kind of makes sense of why would you go aftermarket rail and not get other goodies along with it. So waited another week and got myself another VMS pressure regulator, adjustable, and their gauge. So overall, with this and this, I spent about 150 bucks. So you're saving about 50 bucks less than getting a AEM kit. But I said, like, will I get what I get? Or sorry, would I get what I paid for? Who knows? You know, I'm sure I wouldn't have that many problems with it, hopefully. Yeah, as far as the budget thing, as I was saying, I got this whole intake manifold with all the sensors and even the injectors, which I'm not going to be using, and I'll tell you why here in a second, for 200 bucks. So, which isn't too bad. Okay, intake manifold gaskets. It really isn't a controversial subject, but I've just seen many ways of how people went about this. So for the people that went the A20 gasket route, what I seen was they would just port match their gasket to the B16 ports because the ports on the B16 are bigger. And yes, that does mean that these ports are bigger than the ports on the A20 head. So later on down the road, it'd be kind of a wise decision to get a port match to get a little more air going through the head. The more common ones that I personally read or saw were guys just running the B16 intake manifold gaskets. Obviously, it's not going to line up with the A20, except for the bottom ones, which I've seen. And I haven't heard any of those guys complain about that. That seems to be the easier way to work, you know. Me personally, years ago, when BC Moto made parts for an A20, I pretty much bought everything he made for the A20 minus the cams. I decided to go with Delta on that. So first time opening this thing, put it up here, and was looking at it thinking that I would have to do some modifications to the gasket. And just by looking at it, it's pretty dead on with this. Now I know it might be a little hard to tell on camera. Up top looks kind of weird, obviously, but I mean, like, looking at it, even just like feeling for hooking up on the gasket, it's not really snagging that much. It feels pretty dang matched up. Now, for anybody that did buy these gaskets, say, I don't know how consistent quality control was, so maybe yours isn't as matched up, but you never know. So this is what I got, and got lucky, I guess. Regardless though, the A20 intake manifold, at least having one doing this project, is going to be a must. You are going to need it to pretty much map out where you're going to drill and where you're going to need to cut to make this fit on the A20 head. So all the bottom ones line up perfectly, which is why the B16 works the best. Now there have been people that have used the B18 LS. I haven't really seen too much news on how that works. B16 or the B18 C5 Type R manifolds work the best. GSR, I've never personally heard of anybody modifying it to work on this. I personally wouldn't just do it just due to the, what is that, the dual butterfly thing that thing has. So I mean, it's like, that's just, I guess you could say preference, but it's a B16 is the easiest to work with. Anyway, I digress. So you can either go about this by spray painting over it, which I'm not going to do, just to be able to map out where you're going to pre-drill here, here, or you can use marker, go around this, or just dot out all your drills. Now obviously if you guys are seeing this, you're wondering, okay, what the heck, how are you going to drill through that, since it's right there. So this is going to be pretty much the hardest part right here. The second hardest part is going to be this, since basically I'm going to be drilling so low from where the stock hole is, and it's pretty much under this. So I'm pretty much going to have to cut away this material without hoping not hitting the runners. So I'll see how confident I feel. The original post that I seen on 3G's forum of a person doing this on a B20, he didn't even bother doing this. He felt comfortable enough just doing the two out here, doing the bottom one, and from what I can tell, he didn't have any problems. I mean, I never gonna see any follow-up stuff on that. So I'll get to cutting and drilling and see how it goes from there. All right, so I'm gonna begin taking off this A20 intake manifold off, the good old PGM FI. This basic stuff, guys, remember, disconnect the battery, open the fuel tank, or sorry, the fuel lid, let all the pressure out. I haven't started this car in almost a week, so it shouldn't be too much pressure built up in there, hopefully. So when you take the injectors off, you don't have all that fuel shooting up. But I'm gonna speed this part up. Just, I'm sure you guys don't want to watch me do this for the next million years. Okay, so today is a new day. So I stopped last night because I was getting pretty damn frustrated. But I was able to take the A20 intake manifold off. And it was a pain in the ass. In fact, pain in the ass would be an understatement. Well, it is doable. I went on the forum last night after I stopped and tried to see how people approach taking the intake manifold off, and some of them suggested actually pulling the motor and actually taking it off, but I don't have a cherry picker and I don't feel like doing that, and I'm pretty sure I was able to do it without it if I had the right tools, which I did have to pick up some swivels or swivel. I used one. This 12mm combo ratchet wrench, which helped. So everything up top where the fuel rails are, not a problem. Everything below that, huge problem. I had to take the dog bone transmission mount out, the thermostat housing, distributor. I probably have to take the distributor out, but I just did it just to get to this right here. So move the thermostat housing out. Alright guys, here's a quick reference shot of the B16 intake manifold and the A20. Just looking at the ports in comparison. I know probably from camera you guys can't really tell the difference, so I'll use the gasket to kind of hopefully give a point of reference of size difference ports. Okay, you got your B16 and on the A20. As you can kind of see, I got it lined up pretty well. You see how you can still see some material on the ports? B16. You really can't see that much. It's like I said, it's like this gasket was just right. Okay guys, I just mapped out the A20 intake gasket on the B16 manifold and just drilled out 2 holes here and here. The max size drill bit you're gonna need is gonna be a 5/16 drill bit to be able to fit on A20 studs. I did make the choice of not drilling this hole here in the center. I took the stud out of the head. Now the reasoning for that is right now I do not feel comfortable cutting away all this material just to get one nut to tighten this manifold down in the head. I feel comfortable enough with the amount of hardware I'm going to be using to get this on. If I do develop a vacuum leak later on due to that, then I'll let you guys know and I'll tend to it then. As of right now, my next step is going to be cutting off this water jacket, cutting all this off, making where it's all flush and flat with the flange. Once I do that, you're going to see a lot more daylight than you do now through here. And I'm going to fill this with either quick steel or JB weld. The best option to do this, if you can do it or know someone who can do it, would be to weld it shut. But I feel comfortable enough using just like high temp JB weld or quick steel for it. If obviously that doesn't work, we'll know by the end of the video. I'll let you guys know. The walls and the runners are fine, I didn't get it. The aftermath on the other side, if you guys want to just grind or file off whatever material is left on the flange. Now when I seen this, it kind of freaked me out a little bit, but there's nothing in case you guys run across this. So this pocket right here, for some odd reason I thought I got into the runner, but it's nothing, it's just an extra pocket for where the coolant goes to, I'm assuming. So then here's what I cut off. Just kind of a general idea. Let me get the camera to focus real quick. General idea where it was. Just cut off. So, hitting it with the grinder wasn't too bad. Don't be afraid to flip this over to get better angles and stuff. The only part that I couldn't get with the grinder was around this area, but it was pretty easy. There was such little material left holding it in place. I just got a hammer and one hit, it just came right off. Then just filed and grind it down just to make it more flush. So the next thing I'm going to do now is just fill this up with some quick steel or maybe JB weld. I still haven't made that decision yet. And then honestly I'm going to clean up this manifold and probably paint it. Well, we're here on day 3 of this project and I finally got the manifold on. Through many hours of grinding away, I finally was able to get it to slip on perfectly. Now I still have a little bit more grinding to do up here on the runners because I cannot fully seat these nuts on without it interfering with the runners. So I need to make a quick trip to the store to get some grinding die and should solve that problem. And then as far as mounting this to the A20 head, should be all done. I should start hooking up sensors and all that stuff and whatnot. Now I did decide to go with the JB weld route for the water jacket. You see right here. Not the prettiest job in the world, but it should do its job, hopefully. Now, I'll let that cure for about 18 hours, and up here in good old Arizona, the summer heat has been around 85 degrees at night, so I'm sure it cured a lot quicker than the recommended 24 hours. I didn't have any problems drilling through it. I also rattle canned the intake manifold black just for aesthetic looks. Black and red usually never go bad with each other. So hopefully get the little stuff out of the way, get this car running. Hopefully by today, I'm crossing my fingers, I'm sure we can. I'm gonna go make a trip to the store, as I said, to go get some grinding dies, some convoluted tubing for the engine harness. I'm gonna try to do a little mini wire tuck while I can. And yeah, crossing my fingers, hopefully we can get her started today. I just finished grinding up the runners. As you can see, I'm kind of bummed out that I painted this last night just to end up grinding it again, but in a way it works out for you guys, because now you can actually see the area you guys are gonna have to be grinding at to make sure that when you tighten this nut down that it's flush. Here's the other side. I didn't tighten this down, which is why you still see a gap right there, but I am gonna take this manifold back off to complete the wire tuck as well as clean up on some other things. As for the throttle cable goes, when I got this B16 manifold, it did not come with its throttle cable bracket, so this is actually the A20's throttle cable bracket. All I did to make this work was just flip it over, tighten it down with one bolt. If you guys feel insecure about it, you can drill out another hole and then put in another bolt right here, but one should be fine. I do plan on getting the B16 throttle cable bracket or whatever B series cable bracket will work. I don't know if they're all the same or not. Should be a cheap, easy get. Reason why I don't want to stay this route for too long is because this is not lined up with the throttle, and I'm sure over time it's going to cause some stress and weakness on the cable, which I don't want to drive too long and possibly snap the cable. I mean, are the chances of that pretty high? Not really, but still, it's an easy fix to get the right throttle cable bracket, so might as well just do it right. All right, everyone, it's all done. Everything's bolted on, everything's plugged in, hopefully. We'll find out when we start it, if it does start. I did decide to stay with the OEM A20 injectors because I didn't feel like doing the resistor box delete at this time, or if ever. For that decision, guys, just look up low impedance versus high impedance injectors, or saturated versus hold and peak. That should pretty much help you make your decision on your build. And yeah, let's see if it starts. All right, gotta go hook up the battery real quick. And make sure your gas cap is closed. Already did. And here we go. Starts. Hold it right at 40 psi, which is what I want. I'll probably hold higher once I pull this off. Then again, still gonna need to get it tuned. And it does appear as if I'm leaking some fuel right here. Look at that again. Probably just need an O-ring. Hey, other than that, not too bad. All right, everyone, that's about it. I have a few issues I got to resolve. I have a fuel leak on the return line as well as cylinder 2. Injector, which is more than likely just an injector seal. I'm actually surprised that's the only one leaking since I didn't replace any of them, even though I know I should have, but it is what it is. As far as the return line goes, I'm probably just going to replace it with an AN hose. I got to figure out what size AN fitting it's going to work on there. I'm pretty sure it's a -8 AN, but I said I'll ask around, look, and figure it out from there, let you guys know. Other than that, guys, that should be it. If you have any questions, ask away in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them when I can. Be sure to check out the 3Gs forum as well as Prelude Power to get any information regarding this, as well as anything regarding A20 stuff. I'll leave links down in the description of what links that I use from the forums that helped me the most. Special shout out to Brandon Patterson, aka Shane 86 LXI, for helping me out with a little bit of details, helping me out with this project. He's helped me out in the past as far as the OBD1 conversion stuff, so be sure to go check out his YouTube channel, Shane 86 LXI. A lot of cool stuff on there, a lot of stuff on coil-on plug, OBD1 conversion harnesses, plugs, all that good stuff. He's a really nice, cool guy, so be sure to check his channel out, guys. So, yeah, thanks for watching the first episode of Asian Garage. I'll see you guys later.